We're still on a journey to turn £250,000 into £900,000. In this video, I'm going to break down the latest progress, challenges we face, and if we're still on track to reach our target. So if you haven't watched the previous video, I would say literally pause it and go and watch it. But in a nutshell, what's been done so far is we're currently around 16 weeks into the refurb of this project. Fingers crossed, things go to plan, and we have another 4 weeks left until we can get it fully over the line. So with this property that we're currently in, it's a bit further ahead than next door because of how they've had to phase things in terms of just completely getting one done and then moving on to the next one. Because of next door, what we did is we kept a lot of the plaster boards and the insulation needed for both properties. So it made more sense to just crack on with this one, empty out the next one, and then pretty much do the same thing. So with this being the ensuite bedroom on the ground floor, we've got this area here which is going to be the ensuite, as well as a plant room just behind it, which is pretty much just going to help house certain utilities. And this room here is going to be about 10 square meters, which is one of the more decent sized rooms in this property. Rent wise, in this room we're looking at about £600 to £650 per month. This is where the room ends, and entering here is going to be the kitchen communal area. So this is a key component of bringing this entire HMO together. Reason being, there's a certain amount of communal space and dining space that needs to be in a property for it to be HMO licensable and compliant. Size wise, this area only needed to be about 11 square meters. So a quick pro tip for you guys: if you have a studio which is going to have adequate living space, this actually reduces the amount of space that needs to be available in the kitchen communal area. So from leaving this kitchen communal area, we're stepping into the new entrance slash landing of the property, which is where the tenants are pretty much going to enter and access where they need to go to. So what we've done now with this old entrance is we've bricked it up, and it's going to be turned into almost like a fire escape window in this studio. So we've made our way over to the next property, and as you can see, it's yet to be plastered. In about a week's time, it's going to be fully caught up with next door. But for the reasons I mentioned, it had to be staggered a bit, and that's literally why. You can only see it with the plasterboards in place. Cracking on, about to finish next door, and we're banging on with getting this one plastered as well. So leaving this area here, stepping into the kitchen communal area, you can see the different types of plasterboards, fireboards on the ceilings and part of the walls, and then insulated plasterboards on the back end. This is just to ensure that we're fully compliant with the HMO licensing regulations. With this room at the front here, it's pretty much identical to next door. So this is the fully encased studio room, which is going to be about 14 square meters. Now these studios will rent for anywhere from around £700 to £750 per month. Pause! I wanted to stop the video to talk to you guys about the site visit that I'm about to have with my mentees. It's pretty much an all-immersive experience so that they can learn from me and the projects that I'm doing live and in person. So if you did want to get involved with something like this, link is in the description, and I hope to see you on the other side. So we're currently on the top floor of the property, where we've extended with this dormer in order to create 2 more ensuite rooms. Now this part of the property has had the most progress out of all of the rooms in the house. So come on in and let me show you what's been done. So the issue that we were talking about last time was the fact that with the black accents we were going with for the shower trays, they didn't necessarily have it in widespread stock in the sizes that we needed it in. My design team had to jump a few hoops in order to make it fully work for the vision to come to life. So challenges we faced and how we've overcome them. Other than the extra £15,000 we had to spend on the externals and the garden, there haven't been any more financial surprises yet. So fingers crossed, it continues smooth sailing all the way through to completion. But on the other hand, in terms of the timeline, and if we're still going to complete in the same amount of time, as you can see, this part of the project hasn't yet been plastered, and originally we were meant to have fully been done with it at this point in time. So we've gone with brushed nickel sockets everywhere. It might seem like an unnecessary expense, but trust me, these look absolutely amazing. So all in all, we're opting for these instead of standard white sockets. Should set us back about an extra £100 or two. Now stepping into this room, it's actually going to be the smallest of the 6 in this property, But now that it's been fully plastered and skimmed, it looks a lot bigger than I originally thought it would be. One of the main reasons why it's going to be the smallest is because a lot of this extra space isn't actually classified as usable space simply because it doesn't meet the height standard requirements in order for us to get the HMO license. So this part meets the standard, which is around about 2.14 meters, but everything here isn't classified as usable space because of that very reason. Let me take you guys to the garden so I can show you where the latest of the extra spend has gone. Implementing this new door here pretty much just helps to keep the garden nice and secure, and that was only installed in the past week. So everything else here you guys have pretty much seen. So budget wise, where do we stand with both of these projects? As I told you guys already, we were about £15,000 over the original budget, but luckily there haven't really been any extra bits of spend. Now where we have managed to save a bit is by opting for freestanding furniture instead of fitted. And the reason why I've done this is because the fitted furniture would have taken away from the usable space in the HMOs, which would have meant that we were no longer compliant with some of the HMO room standard requirements. Now where we might have increased some of the costs is with extra financing fees. As you know, using a bridging loan, you're roughly paying around about 1% each and every month. And with both of these projects, each and every month is costing around about £2,000 in financing fees. For every week the project takes longer is essentially extra spend added onto the budget. And with that being said, I'm currently forecasting us being a couple of weeks out from the initial timeline projections. And then lastly, we've spent a little bit extra on the design element when it comes to the lightings as well as some of the fittings. All in all, I estimate this to be around about anywhere from £1,000 to £2,000. So as a quick summary, with the extra £15,000 spent on this area here, the extra £1,000 to £2,000 spent on the lighting and fittings, as well as the extra £1,000 or £2,000 in financing fees, that roughly takes us to £20,000 above our original spend. So what's next for this project? Well, like I said, we've got around about 4 weeks left on site. Touch wood, everything goes to plan. Valuation wise, we're still looking at the same estimated end value, assuming no drastic market shifts. And then budget wise, we're still on track with everything that's been spent on site so far, plus any contingencies that we've put in place as well. The only potential factor that I could see throwing our numbers off in the short run is the amount of HMO rooms that are going to become available by the time that ours is finished. This may mean that we may experience a slight decrease in the rents that we're able to achieve in the short run. But we've still got a few crucial steps that we need to take before this project is fully over the line. And I'm going to be dropping another amazing update for you guys in the coming weeks. So make sure you lock in and subscribe to see what lies ahead.